Hey guys, Tyler2K here. Today we're going to take a look at the v1.09.01 patch notes. These patch notes just came out today, and the patch just came out today, October 28th. So originally when they were talking about the v1.09 nerfs, it looked like they were going to target Nina, Dragunov, and Yoshimitsu, and here we are today. Looks like just Dragunov of the big three are kind of being targeted. I think most high-level players put, Nina, Dragunov, and Yoshi in top 5, if not top 3. If you want to see my tier list, top right corner if you haven't seen it quite yet. But it's like, well, I was really expecting some more changes. Now, with that being said, we do have the TWT finals coming out in about a month and a half on December 7th. Is the very first day. That's LCQ day. So it makes sense that they're not doing this major patch, but relative to what they're saying here, like, they talked about in the previous update announcement that they would make changes. I kind of feel like they kind of forgot about Nina and Yoshimitsu, but okay, maybe they'll get nerfed in the upcoming patch too. I don't know, or maybe we won't see the nerfs until the TWT finals, but that's okay. There are some weird, questionable nerfs. There are some really good nerfs, so we'll get to them shortly. So let's go ahead and start with the top. Basically, common heat burst behavior. It says fix it so certain inputs cannot be performed after a KO. I wonder if they mean... I'm not really familiar with this bug. Maybe they're talking about how... okay, well, I'll give you an example. So with Lydia, so whenever she's under heat mode, she can transition into Heaven Earth by tapping up. So when the round ends, let's say you knock out your opponent, the game doesn't freeze, but it doesn't allow you to enter into Heaven and Earth. But if you're finishing with a hop kick, you can actually tap up during your hop kick after the KO and still transition into Heaven and Earth. So maybe there's some weird taunt thing where you can pop Heat Burst after the round has ended. Maybe this is targeted at like a character like Heihachi who needs heat charges to kind of get his stuff going, his Warrior Instinct going. I haven't seen anyone post about it on Twitter. I haven't seen any secret Discord text, so I'm like completely drawing a blank here. But clearly there was something bugged with Heat Burst, especially if they're singling it out. So that's something of note. Also, Special Style got an adjustment. So I guess under Special Style, some attacks were bugged with their tracking. That's kind of interesting to hear. Same thing, I haven't heard anything about that, but at the same time, who plays Special Style, right? So in the v1.08 patches, they did change how Special Style, like for instance, there was Rain Attack where you could parry and then perform like a perfect electric instantly using Special Style. But clearly something on it had to be fixed. Okay, so let's take a look at the... Oh, okay, sorry, Nina and Double Jin are at the bottom, my bad. I missed them from all the nerfs, like all the way here. Okay, so let's start with Alisa. So v1.09 adjustments were made for Alisa's techniques that tend to be low risk and passive strategies. This is 100% correct. Things like forward 2-1 definitely need to get nerfed. Down forward was probably a little bit overtuned, so that makes sense that down forward is getting nerfed. So down forward, change damage from 15 to 12. So currently dealing 15 damage, doing a good chunk of damage. So 12 would be a few pixels shorter. My bad. So roughly that much less damage. So what is that? 20% less damage. So that's a step in the right direction. Down forward already was really overtuned. The reason being that down forward by itself was changed from minus 15 to evidently minus 12. I thought it was minus 14, but no, minus 12 is really good, especially now that you consider down forward 1+2 is a jailing +0 situation. Good spacing, good range, you can poke out, down back 3 turnstile, stand for option, homing tool, back 3 if you want to high crush jabs, so on and so forth. So down forward 1+2 is like a really major linchpin to her battle strategy. Also the fact that down forward 1+2 already did really good counter hit damage and was fully NCC for the wall splat, so on and so forth. I can actually do this nowadays, which is really cool. So on and so forth, right? So it needed to be changed. I guess back 2-3, my bad. So yeah, obviously down forward needed an adjustment. So yeah, that's a good change because down forward already is so relatively risk-free, all things considered. It needed to be changed. So that's a really good nerf. Okay, so destruction forward 2, chip damage changed from 10 to 6, and then on heat mode changed to 15 to +10. So forward 2. So yeah, mid attack. So oh yeah, we can actually turn on health info now, right? That's really nice. Okay, so there you go. 10 points of chip damage being adjusted down to 6. So that's a substantial nerf. I mean, it's a really necessary nerf, all things considered, right? To have a decently long-range mid-presence. Also, the fact that forward 1+2 by itself... Oh, let me turn off Black Hole, basically. Like, into knockdown. But yeah, it's really, really strong. To have, like, a +5 option. It already does 1 million, like, chip damage. And then furthermore, forward 1+2 dealing 15 damage, like 50% damage increase is pretty crazy as well. So yeah, I mean, understandably they had to get nerfed. There are probably other things that dealing chip damage that should be dealt with, but forward 1+2 probably is a start in the right direction. So I think that's probably an okay thing. Now the second, or the third nerf rather, is like the really, really, really big one. And that's forward 2-1. So forward 2-1 in Tekken 7 used to be a wall bounce, but the big one specifically is the fact that forward 2-1 is also a natural hit launcher off of heat mode. You know, heat dash cancel, so on and so forth. So really, really strong. And then yeah, -10 for everything, like all things considered. You know, heat engager, decent hitbox on it, and then it's a weapon-based attack, and then heat dash cancel, this and that, this and that. It was time for it to be back to -10. Kind of similar to her swipe option. I would imagine the swipe is on the table in the future, because this move, same thing, is like really, really, really strong, because it also can be heat dash canceled for a full launcher. It's essentially a stronger stand 4 that is really ridiculously strong. So I'm sure in the next major patch, forward 2 will also be nerfed, but forward 2-1 is a step in the right direction, because yeah, between her chip damage and her just general safety, like Alisa's a really, 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 really good character. And shout out to Azzy for this clip. Here we see forward 2-1 at tip range, and we have Lee 4 option, which hits on 11, not consistently punishing it. So he can use an option like forward 4 to hit, but his stronger 11 frame option is off the table, even with the -12 nerf in the v1.09 patch. Okay, we'll read it first. So Dragunov in v1.09, along with bug fixes, adjustments, made suppressed performance of some of his overly powerful moves. Okay. There's one, like, down 2 damage nerf is crazy, though. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's put Dragunov into heat. Ah, there you go. Okay. So, yeah, so basically on his third attack there, he's just active for quite a few frames. So actually we can go with the photo mode, the freeze time. So, yeah, okay. During the end of his animation, I guess he probably has an extended hitbox that also faced backward. But yeah, looking at the animation, we could probably see how the hitbox can probably extend both forwards and backwards. That gets us clipped when we try to punish him. So not only, like, for instance, is it really hard to, like, lock down Dragunov, right? Like, for instance, our running 2, like, we can't even properly track him down. So, I mean, imagine the scenario where you can get to his back, try to punish him, and then all of a sudden he hits you back turn, and then you don't get a punish, and then you get hit, right? And of course, a lot of funky things can happen with weird wall breaks and stuff like that. Strong wall breaks, so on and so forth. So, understandably, yeah, the heat smash needed to get toned down because of how strong it was. But nerfing down 2 is the weird one. Changing the damage from, like, 17 to 14 is a huge part of Dragunov's kit, right? You know, Dragunov known as down 2, and running 2, like, the game. That's, like, his entire game. So when you're nerfing a key low like down 2, you really have to think of, like, what is in its place, right? So using Alisa like an example here, with Alisa, down 4, 1+2 already has a practical use, and that's trying to get, like, a wall splat. So as we had seen earlier, you know, down 4, 1+2 by the wall scores us a launcher, but here at down 2 at Dragunov, we're only +13G, and same thing, open field, we just get applied pressure afterwards. But that's kind of all we get at that +13. There is no bonus option there, and also further the fact that, like, down 2 is -1 on hit, so it's a mind game that kind of is against you as a Dragunov player, is really, really, really rough to deal with. So again, using Alisa like an example, down back 3, down 4, down 3, shoe shine, YOLO options like down back 4, down 3+4, which is arguably better than, like, Dragunov down back 3, which doesn't even properly have a homing property on it, right? So hers is like JS5 or whatever, and a homing, and Dragunov's just doesn't. it just high crushes, and that's kind of about it, and you can still step it. So, I don't know, nerfing down 2 feels misplaced. The only thing I can think of is they wanted to nerf his low game, similar to how they nerfed down like 3+4 to be less, worse frames on hit, so it's only +3, and then on block is now a stagger low. That's the only thing I can think of, is they really wanted to nerf something that you would normally be a huge part of his kit, and that's down 2. So I'm not really a big fan of it. It feels misplaced to nerf down 2 of all options. I think for the most part with Dragunov, people really complain about his combo damage, not his standing damage so much. And nerfing down 2, like, I don't know, man. It just feels bad, especially when you try to, end a game now, and they have rage, and you have to deal with down 2, possibly not killing them through the damage reduction. So it's doubly bad. So it's going to be harder to close out now that down 2 is, I wouldn't say necessarily less scary, but significantly less strong as an option. Whereas a thing like back 4-3 makes much more sense. So made it easier to evade through sidestepping. The performance adjustments were made. So tracking performance of second attack has been reduced when the first attack misses, and the hitbox of the second attack has been reduced also when the first attack misses. So that is a good thing. With that being said, it's something that has been around for like a really, really long time. So let's go ahead. We'll have Alisa stand block, and we'll just have her sidewalk either direction. So, okay, she got hit there. And of course, if she walks the other direction, well, she also gets clipped. So, like I said, the thing is back 4-3. The second hit of back 4-3 is always tracked. That's actually one of the main benefits of back 4-3 in older games, was just, I wouldn't necessarily call it phantom tracking, it just would full track. With that being said, if you look at back 4-3 as like a mix-up between back 4-2 and back 4-3, right, it makes sense that back 4-3 does track, because then you can better apply the pressure. At the same time, your opponent should be ducking anyway, so it's not really a big deal. The tracking wasn't really a big deal because it's the same thing. You step it and you duck it and you launch it. Now it seems like in Tekken 8, and I'll go ahead, I'll throw the footage here. Thanks, Past Tyler. v1.09 patch testing. Okay. Let's go ahead and sidewalk the other way. Okay, no tracking whatsoever. Out of curiosity, let's put him on sidestep. He probably will still evade it. Oh, no. Ooh, okay. Although it might have been done that before. Okay, so sidewalk, or sidestep right, which is typically the way you want to kind of beat Dragunov anyway, because a lot more linear options that you have to worry about. And now that back 4, especially the second hit, no longer has tracking on it. Okay, there's a little bit more credence to moving that way too. But yeah, typically like all our really key mid options are weak to sidestep right. So now it's even more the case now that back 4-3 just completely whiffs against it. And out of curiosity, let's just go ahead and do a normal combo. I don't think this is going to miss, but we'll just test. Wrong game. Okay, still hits. Okay, that's good. We're on axis, of course, but at the same time, I think that's okay. The nice little caveat I'll have to give credit to the Namco about. The caveat specifically states when it misses. So what that means is during combos, the back 4-3 will still be a consistent option. Now, granted, back 4-3 is a little bit antiquated nowadays. It's not something you're going to typically go for. Like, for instance, in like Tekken 7, you would have something like CC option, back 4-3, and then you get like spin and stuff like that. Like I said, it's a little bit antiquated, especially now that like QCF1 or CD1 option. Yeah, you just have the typical CDC 4-1, QCF 3+4, short carry, so on and so forth. Like, there's a lot of things that kind of take the place of back 4-3 mid combo, but at least, okay, they didn't nerf it in mid combos, so that's a nice thing. Like, Namco didn't have to do that, all things considered. So I have to at least give them some applause for not like universally nerfing it, so it's like completely useless now. Instead, of course, back 4-3 is just going to be your go-to launcher. So the one thing they didn't note is that they didn't note that back 4-3 doesn't launch. So I presume in v1.09 back 4-3 will still be a 14-frame launcher. So I assume that's going to be the case. Same thing if it's not. I'll put the footage here that's not, but I highly doubt that they nerfed that, because I feel like if they would have nerfed it, they would have nerfed it. Okay, QCF4. opponent's behavior on hit has been altered to not induce wall stun. So what they're talking about is QCF4, everyone's favorite axle kick, causes knockdown on a standing opponent. And then, of course, by the wall, even as a heat engager, it causes wall splat effect, allowing us to do running 4 combo, and then everyone's favorite down for 2 1+2 combo for a good amount of damage. So now, instead of it causing knockdown, it's now going to be +8 on hit. So I haven't tested it yet. Of course, I'm still using the old patch. So insert future Tyler here, because for sure we're going to want to test this. Take it away, Tyler. Okay, now we have QCF4 to test. So this should no longer cause knockdown. So 17 +8. Oh, wow, look at that. It forces the opponent into FC, does it look like? So that's a little bit better than +8 in that case. I'm surprised no one mentioned this. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the frame of our opponent just to make sure. Yeah, why does it say standing? Shouldn't it say full crouch? Okay, is that broken? Did they break that? Because I'm pretty sure that would normally say. But yeah, looking at just the animation, yeah, it looks like it puts him into FC. So that's a good thing. Okay, out of curiosity, so the robot should be able to SSL. Okay, yeah, so look at that. It does put him into full crouch. So yeah, that's better than +8 in general. That's not like a standing +8 like that, where then, you know, our follow-ups gonna get stabbed. But oops. Ah, shit. Fuck, my bad. Yeah, look at that. Oh, hello. That's a lot better than +8. Okay, I'm not too mad about that nerf then. +8S or C? Oh, technically S, right? Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, okay, that's something people didn't talk about. You know, shoutouts to online. Okay, last thing. So if we're by wall, okay, just standing 17, and then the final test. I want to make sure this is still a heat dash launcher. Okay, and it is. Pretty cool. Okay, I mean, I'm glad to see that it's still at least a heat dash cancel. So, Dragunov nerf, sure. The big one is down 2. I don't know what they're thinking by lowering the damage on down 2, but hey, here we are. So, all things considered for Dragunov, yeah, it's not that bad. Okay, out of curiosity, let's see what the run does now. Whoops, shit, I gotta, yeah, you can't eat it. You have to block that. I guess I can just start with this. Okay, let's just have him sidewalk. Okay, so he still does the really big run at the end, so it just no longer hitbox extends behind him. So, okay, that's fine. So yeah, the big nerf, of course, is QCF4, but again, like a full crouch forcing +8 is huge, dude. That's a big fucking change because it causes full crouch for your opponent and for yourself, of course, right? So when you do like QCF4 pressure, shit. Right, we're in FC, so then we go for our you know, full crouch down forward 3 and stuff like that. But when we're to our opponent's back. Oh, okay. Okay, so you can't be heat engaged, right? Obviously, because heat engage causes alignment. Same thing for heat dash cancel. It puts Kazuya the right direction, so that's a moot point. But if we're outside of heat, and like I said, shouts to Azzy. Oh, wait, what? Wait, why did that cause a knockdown? Wait, on the back, is it full knockdown? Oh, it does? How it? Okay, so on the side, though. There we go. Now we get guaranteed hit. So we're left +8. So wall stand 2 technically can be escaped, but because we have like 3 options off of wall stand, like wall stand 1-2 for +10 stand spin, wall stand 1-3 for knockdown, or just a big daddy shoulder, right? That's all we really need. So okay, yeah, I mean, all things considered, that's not a huge nerf. Obviously the free attempt at the wall for a +7 wall splat was a little bit overtuned, but yeah, all things considered, not that bad. Okay, we got Heihachi in v1.09 in addition to fixing unintended behaviors. Heihachi underwent balance changes to address the issue of excessively high combo damage while in Warrior Instinct. Okay, that is an interesting thing to state because remember, like Warrior Instinct is the charge mechanic that it gets from doing heat only once per game, and then of course under the effects of the 3 charges of heat mode. So again, at the quickest, it can only be it can only be once per game on the 3rd round, 4th round, and 5th round, so on and so forth. And then of course you have to pop it. So it's strange to see that they're singling out the combo damage on Warrior Instinct, because the one thing of note with this move is that for some reason, look at her recoverable gauge. Warrior Instinct just destroys recoverable gauge. So now that they're going out of their way to nerf 1 back 2, would it make more sense just to get rid of the red life destruction on Warrior Instinct? I don't know. I don't really understand that. But okay, let's go ahead and go through the patch notes. But first things first, that is weird. Okay, a fix was implemented to address an issue in which case the ultimate count would not increase when certain stage skips were given. Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, this is actually a bug that's been in the game for a while. So I wonder if that means all characters are going to get fixed. So let's see, this should be in theory easy to replicate. So QCF2 is a heat engager. Yeah, there you go. See that? So even though in theory, if I do QCF2 Palm, it's a heat engager using 1 charge of my meter. But if we're by a breakable wall, a stage gimmick, it doesn't activate. So that's a really, really important fix. So hopefully they didn't call that a buff. Okay, good. They didn't call it a buff. Good, because this is very much a fix. But okay, that's good. That's a good change for Heihachi. Okay, 1 jab. Issue recovery time became longer than intended when countering a power crush. Oh, interesting. I did not know about this one. Okay, let's have Alisa do up back 2, everyone's favorite. Whoops. Okay, out of curiosity, let's go back to Claudio and try this again. Because at first it felt okay, but the last 3 definitely felt kind of iffy. So let's try this again. Okay. It's hard to say. Obviously, this isn't scientific, so it does feel better with Claudio, but I don't know for a fact. Okay, so clearly there was an issue with one of the heat power crushes getting fucked by the jab. So maybe my guess is maybe what happened is the jab wasn't counting. It was counting for a hit frame instead of a whiff frame or something like that. I don't know for a fact. Maybe it's an unintended consequence of like 1-1 specifically. Maybe what happened is when you perform a 1-1, it doesn't cause 30 frames of freeze for your opponent. Maybe it only causes 15 frames of freeze. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Inconclusive, but if Namco says it is, it probably is. Okay, and then yeah, this is the big one. So 1 back to 2. So for people who don't know, so under normal effects, it causes you to hit the opponent to the ground. So when you're under the effects of Warrior Instinct, though, the 1 back to 2 becomes the old not power crush, but the old rage drive for Heihachi. So the issue here, though, is like I had shown you, is that when you're under the effects of 1 back to 2, you already do red life destruction. If you notice there, the animation, right? Let's go ahead and put her open field because it's going to get annoying. So look, we're still doing red life destruction. See, I can do an easy combo. And see, because we're under Warrior Instinct, we're already doing red life destruction. But with the old rules, we can do a more technical combo and ending with an unskilled final down 3, 1+2, do insane damage. And obviously that had to go. I went back and forth trying to figure out what they're exactly talking about. Because if you find the timing on it, you can still do inputs really, really late. And I'm like, well, that's weird. We have the bot set to Ukemi. Even if we go for this kind of delayed down 3 timing with the unscale, we can still get this down 3-2 going. But what it is you can no longer get the truly unscaled. So if you remember my combos where I did like 80% damage, basically those are gone. So I talked to resident Mishima player here in NorCal, Cheapskate, and he talked about how that used to be the timing. So you would do the whiff jab into down 3, that way you didn't fuck up the timing. But now that you can perform the Ukemi, yeah, it's no longer properly able to get the unscale. So if I just hold it a little bit longer, see, he can still tech roll out of it. Because, yeah, you can now tech roll rather than recover in a grounded state. So basically the tech roll, when you're performing it, if you look at the status, they're invincible when it's tech rolling. So that means the down 3-2, or 1+2, whatever, no longer can hit period under unscaled. So again, that's not to say you can't do, you know, this. It's just that it does still obey scaling rules. So they got rid of the unscaled part of it, which is a good change. So I'm happy to see that that was actually changed. And last two, but not least two, we have Nina, 2-3, and wall stand 3. Issue where transition to a throw occurred on airborne hit has been corrected. So 2-3 and wall stand 3 are her trap knee. So from here you can transition into a throw where you do red light destruction, e.g. that. It looks like against an airborne opponent, I don't know if I'm going to be able to reproduce this, but it looks like sometimes it will give you a airborne attack throw or something to that effect. So let's go ahead and, I don't know, maybe let's just have like Alisa just jump. Have her do something like that. Let's find out. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's try. Okay. That looked a little funky. Okay, let me try a little better. Whoa, look at that. Okay, it did. Okay, so it's almost like a trip guard, like a 2D trip guard. That looks pretty cool, I'll be honest. So actually, Dragunov had something like that. I don't think it's in the game anymore, but let's find out. And what it was is Dragunov sidestep 2-3. In older games, used to be a counter hit attack throw. In this game, it's completely NC. So if I do this, it transitions to attack throw regardless of the counter hit. But it used to be the second hit only did transition into attack throw. But like I said, there used to be a bug with it. All right, it's gonna be very hard. Okay, no, it doesn't do it anymore. But if you notice, like the animation, when you hit them, it like does this like zoom in animation. It's a little bit more muted in this game, but in older games, it used to be like a really dramatic zoom in. But what would happen against airborne opponent, it would zoom into them, and then you would get this, it wouldn't do the attack throw, but it would do the zoom in, and it looked hella crazy. So that used to happen in like Season 3, T7. They might have fixed it by Season 4, I don't know for a fact, but it was always the coolest thing when that happened. Like, oh, cool. That looks crazy as shit. So that's, yeah, that's insane. So, like, Nina used to have an anti-air, get over here, Scorpion Trap Knee against airborne. So that's kind of spicy. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit harder to do. So this one is a well-known bug that, like, never happens in practicality. Because who plays Devil Jin? Let's be honest, right? But what it is in the matchup of Devil Jin versus Heihachi. And let me make myself Devil Jin, and we'll go against Heihachi. Okay, so what the bug states is that during the typical Rage Art animation, usually the clock would freeze. But what happens is that during Devil Jin's Rage Art versus Heihachi, the clock doesn't correctly freeze. So what we'll do, we'll put Heihachi with more health than us. But we'll have barely more health. Or like, I want just enough to survive like the initial couple hits. Okay, so a little bit more just to be safe. So again, fix an issue in which the round timer progresses during Rage Art animation when it hits Heihachi. So here, we have a screen freeze, right? But see, now the timer progresses, even though it shouldn't be progressing. So even though we should have won that as the Devil Jin player, we don't, because it's a bug versus Heihachi. So that was fixed in v1.09. So, okay, that's it for the changes to the patch. I'm going to go ahead and update the patch now, and then we're going to go ahead and record the v1.09 changes. But of course, at the same time, you've already probably seen the v1.09 changes, so thanks for coming by. These are the v1.09 patch notes. If I made a mistake, please correct me. It was very short patch note this year, or this month, or whatever you want to call it, this quarter, I suppose, for a little more accurate. So we didn't do the 3-hour one again, but hopefully after TWT finals, we get like a significant change to the game. And we'll definitely talk about that when it occurs. So yeah, if I made a mistake, please let me know. Please consider becoming a member if you want to join and assist the channel. Of course, I don't really run ads on like anything. So please become a member. That's the only way I really make my money. Beyond that, I hope you guys have a great day. And if there's anything you want me to cover or to look at, please let me know, and I will consider making a video about it. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Later on.